Alright, so today we're going to be preventing some headaches and migraines by going over some of the common mistakes that we might see in Shinryu Extreme. So let's get right into it. Alright, so my first bit of advice that I can give you is that if we all go back to the back tile and sort of stand in each of the four corners of the tiles and pair up with a healer in a DPS, another healer in a DPS, and a tank with a DPS, and another tank with a DPS, this will help us kind of communicate later on in a final phase of Shinryu, but we'll get to that later on in the video. Now, something that I really want to point out before we even dive into anything is that paying attention to your actual HUD is going to be what is going to save your ass from a lot of the things that is going to kill you or end up giving you a debuff. But let's go ahead and start off. Not too many mistakes that I noticed during this phase. It's pretty obvious what you have to do. Okay, so right off the bat, as soon as we notice that those chains are broken from the people that we are tethered with, that is our cue to go ahead and try to use some of our knockback immunities, such as Arm's Length, Surecast, or Tempered Will to prevent being pushed off by Tidal Wave. Now, these are one of the crucial moments that we can kind of pay attention, understand, and learn how we can stop dying from our mistakes. My best advice that I can give you guys for this part is as soon as you see summoning icicles, what you want to do is immediately start turning your camera to get a better view of where the icicles are. But at the same time, still stay locked on to Shinryu so you can keep putting DPS onto it. Now, as you're looking back at the icicles that are behind you, there will be a small gap where you and the rest of your party should be able to huddle. It's either going to be on the left or the right side of the platform. You want to hide there to make sure you don't get knocked back and slowed by any of the icicles. Now, just a quick heads up, each of your healer, your tank, and your DPS will be marked with a green marker right on top of your head, indicating that the tail is going to come down right on that platform. Now, you want to make sure that the middle platform is not cracked and that the middle platform does not get slammed by the tail, or this could result in your death. Now, I've already demonstrated where you should be putting the tails if you are the tank, the healer, or the DPS to prevent everybody from wiping. Shinryu's next repeated mechanic that shows up in majority of the fight is going to be Akmorn. And one of my best practices for this is as soon as I notice on the right hand side that he's starting to cast it, I begin to start either moving to the left, to the right, or forwards or backwards, just so that I know even if it targets me, I'm already moving and I'm already out of it. But at the same time, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're turning your camera like I mentioned earlier, because summoning icicles will push you back if you're not paying attention and can result in your death. Alright, so with the next couple of phases that are coming up, what you want to do is, again, DPS, you want to make sure that you're looking out for that tail marker that's above your head and making sure that you're putting it on a platform that's not already cracked so we don't lose damage. One really easy mechanic that a lot of groups tend to mess up on is Earth Breath. Now, it's going to target your healer and it's going to target your DPS. Simple. Your DPS wants to hang out on the right side of the platform and your healer wants to hang out on the left side of the platform. This is just so that the healer and the DPS are the only two that get hit. As you can see, the mistake that I made is that I wasn't standing on the right side, resulted in me and the rest of my group getting hit by Earth Breath, then followed by Akmorn, resulting in my death. My personal best practice on what I like to do for Earth Breath is after we get hit by Ice Storm, I like to kind of hang out on the right side of the middle platform so I can kind of individually be able to tell that I have the Earth Breath marker above my head. It can get kind of confusing when everybody's clumped up together and you have no idea who actually has a marker over their head. Standing to the right side will kind of give you a big significant advantage to quickly moving over to that right hand tile and making sure sure that Earth Breath only hits you. And I would try to do the same if you're the healer. I would try to stand majority to the left side, and as soon as I know that I have that marker above my head, just hang out around the left tile. Now, right after that third Aquamarine, what you really want to try to look out for is you want to look out for Aerial Blast. This is a very easy mechanic to deal with. One, after the first push, what you can go ahead and do is again pop your knockback immunities. You can do things such as again arm's length, sure cast, whatever it takes. But remember that you're also going to be tethered to another player, so you want to make sure that you're prioritizing that the chains are broken as fast as you possibly can. Now, if you have a significant amount of DPS for Shinryu at this current moment, he should be around anywhere between 45% and maybe 50%. If he's around 45%, luckily you'll be able to skip the next phase and he'll go right into his transition. Alright, so the next phase that you guys are going to get hit with is going to be the ads. You want to make sure that you're AoEing them with every single AoE that you have in your arsenal. These guys are a little tanky, and you want to make sure that you pop something like smokescreen or diversion to make sure you don't take aggro off the main enemy, because that death sentence can one-shot you immediately. Now, after the second wave of enemies, you will be marked with a circle and a red arrow that's right above your head. Now, I'm going to repeat, do not sprint to these positions. If you sprint, it will result in you dying later in the fight, which is a loss of DPS, which can make the fight go on much longer than it should. Now, my best practice is to make sure that you are putting those arrows in the four corners of the platform and maybe the top of the middle of the platform. Now, this does not do any sort of damage to you. Once it happens to land, you want to make sure that you are running right to the middle of the platform. I see a bunch of people mess this up, and it can be a headache for the rest of your ready team. Now, congratulations, we're in the final phase of this fight. Now, tanks, you're the people that I really kind of want to talk to about this. Once we are on that second platform, what we want to go ahead and do is we want to prioritize the fact that Shinryu is going to hit us with Terra Slash. You need to pop a cooldown for this, because this will one-shot you immediately. After he hits you with Terra Slash off tank, what you want to do is provoke off of him and then go into your shield stance. At the beginning of the video, I had mentioned that your DPS should team up with your healers, and the other part of your DPS should also partner up with your tanks for the very final phase of this fight. This is what I was mentioning. Now, you guys will get marked with stack markers and chains. One, you want to prioritize that you're breaking that chain and then pairing up with your partner that's already marked. Healers, you want to maintain the fact that we are all topped off at this point, because Shinryu's next mechanic is going to be Hypernova and Ice Storm. And what this needs us to do is we need to make sure that we're standing still and we're all stacked in together as a group. If we're not topped off, we will all die. So at this part of the fight, after you've already done your Hypernova plus Ice Storm, Shinryu will either cast Worm Wall or he will cast Benighting Breath. Benighting Breath is a massive cone AoE, and you just need to get out of the way. Worm Wall is you want to make sure that you're going right under Shinryu, see him launch his attack, and as soon as you see it, you want to get out of there as fast as possible. You want to make this quick and seamless. Staying under Shinryu for way too long will give you doom, and you will die within the next 3 to 5 seconds. So that pretty much wraps everything up for some of the common mistakes that I see in Shinryu. I'm sorry this was a little longer than usual, but Shinryu definitely has a lot of mistakes that I see, and hopefully I was able to clear it up for the majority of your groups. Alright, hopefully I see you guys in the next one. See ya.